Guys, welcome to another video. And today, this video is going to talk about the state of Star Wars. And yeah, I know it's technically says Star Wars. I'm on YouTube. I kind of having a brain fart. Hey Rose, how are you doing? I don't know why I'm having a brain fart before I call this video. But before anybody asks, I'll do a YouTube reaction video later this week. But hold on. I know this is going to how are you, Rose? I know me forgetting is going to there you go. There you go. There you go, split fandom. There you go. I know I technically called this video Star Wars split fandom, but it's also and pretty much when the prequels came out, the fandom, you can debatably say that the fandom was kind of split, can debatably say that. Because there were fans that disliked the prequels, you had fans that was into the prequels. Uh, but at least they disagreed in a respectful manner. Because my least favorite Star Wars movie is Attack of the Clones. I mean, from the prequels. My least favorite prequels movie is Attack of Clones. How was school, by the way, Rose? And start the prequels, the original trilogy, and the Clone Wars were all made, and even the horrible holiday special were all made before the Lucasfilms got bought out by Disney. And the pre-Disney Lucasfilms days, if you disliked like something in Star Wars, I have sensed that really like is that your mom? I left with my parents, so yes and yes. Yes to both, but more to my yes to the first part, both my parents. But pretty much what I was my the thing I was going to say was pretty much before Lucasfilms got bought by Disney. When you people who didn't like the prequels, Clone Wars, or original trilogy, or the and thank you for the like, or the holiday special that I generally dislike. If you go back to when you just had those, I guess 8 movies plus the 2 Clone Wars series, then you can see that people didn't really insult each other or bash or talk down to each other if they disliked the those movies. And unlike today, with like said the Last Jedi, because that's really when the fandom got split to that actually hold on, let's hold off with the Last Jedi for a second. When the Force Awakens came out, a lot of people liked it. Of course, there are gonna be some people that dislikes the movie, but there's some people. I mean, a lot of people like The Force Awakens. I am one of them. I still like The Force Awakens. Yeah, it might have a lot of similarities between The New Hope, but I still think it was a good movie. I still thought, and still do think that it it was a good setup movie for Episode 8. Why Star Wars? Stay of Star Wars, and pretty much catch you up pro Disney. Pretty, pretty much before Disney bought Lucasfilms, Star Wars, and how they're the closest controversy that Star Wars had was the prequels, because a lot of people were kind of upset in some of the choices George Lucas has made to Star Wars in the prequels. Like some of the choices, not all, but some. My least favorite Star Wars movie of the prequels or is Attack of the Clones. Oh yeah, I love Star Wars as well. So yeah, but before Disney bought Lucasfilms, people agreed or disagreed more respectfully as they were today. I didn't like I don't remember ever hearing anybody call each other like you're a racist if you like disliked Anakin, or you're sexist, or you're for female power if you dislike Padme or Ahsoka. I actually don't remember hearing about that when those movies were made. I'm taking out of the two Clone Wars shows. I'm just sticking with Star Wars episodes 1 through 6, the holiday special, and the Clone Wars movie. I'm just sticking with those movies right now. I don't remember hearing fans really insult each other if they had different opinions at that time. And then later on, like even when The Force Awakens came out, a lot of people were excited. Some didn't like the movie, and that's fine. And that's fine. Even then, I didn't hear anybody insult anyone per se, calling them if you don't dislike Ray, you're a sexist, blurry, blurry, blur. You, and if you dislike Finn, then you must be a racist, blurry, blurry, blur. Still be comments like that. And then same thing happens with well, pretty much I'm saying that I didn't hear anybody insult each other, calling those ridiculous insults to or names to each other if they didn't like the Force Awakens. And same with Rogue One and Star Wars story. The Last Jedi came out. And I admit, the first few months, I was still on the Star Wars hype train. I really loved The Last Jedi. And I'll still stand by when I first saw the movie. The part that I hate the most is Luke dying. I mean, yeah, it would have made sense if he passed out. But since he was disconnected from the Force for like about 20 years, 10, 15, 20 years, I I would have been okay if he passed out, or what Mark Hamill suggested to J.J. Abrams, which J.J. shot it down, saying maybe Luke teleported. Uh, I would been okay with either one. Just I wouldn't. Hold on, Nemo, no scratching, boy. Thank you. And here's the thing, yeah. Before I can continue, speaking of Luke, one, I have to agree with you, and hopefully they'll kind of make up for that in that Resistance show. And pretty much, I was okay with grumpy old Luke, and you're seeing Nemo, my cat Nemo, not Savage Nemo, but Nemo, my little cat Nemo, on the screen right now. Sorry. What do you want, Nemo? Hmm? What do you want, big boy? Anyways, what I was trying to say? Oh yeah, Luke. That I was okay with grumpy old man Luke. The only part, really, yeah, it would be nice to see more action with Luke, and hopefully we are able to see more action with Luke in the Resistance show. But I don't think they should have killed Luke off. That is the main thing that, because there's a few things that kind of made me upset in the Last Jedi. I admit that. So, but Luke's death, I feel like that's the part that I kind of got anchored the most. And it would have been cool if J.J. Abrams went with Mark Hamill's idea that maybe Luke teleported. And the reason why I was okay with grumpy old Luke, which I said before, is because we still had, I guess we still have episode 9 where he can be a Force Ghost. But regardless, I was I'm okay with grumpy old man Luke on because we could. I guess we still can see him in episode 9 as Force Ghost, but as the Luke that we knew in the original trilogy, but more mature, more wise, more full of hope than we got to see in the Last Jedi. But ever since that movie came out of Christmas time last year, there's seriously so many people that's been saying, "Oh yeah, if you dislike the Last Jedi, then you're stupid." Blur, de blur, de blur, de blur, de blur. To be honest, the Last Jedi is a Star Wars movie. It's an alright movie overall, but I just feel like for Star Wars standards, it's like could have been better, and that's mainly Ryan Johnson's fault. With don't really much into details with, unless if you guys want to have a conversation, then we're in. But even the people at Lucasfilm's been insulting fans that dislike the Last Jedi. Uh, Kathleen Kennedy, even though I don't feel like compared to some of the older insults, I don't feel like this is most of an insult. But hold on, there, there we go. But look, Kathleen Kennedy was taken as insults, and I'm a guy, and I still take this as an insult, kind of bit. Where Kathleen Kennedy says, "Yeah, we killed off Luke. Part of the reason was because girls uh relate to Luke Skywalker. So yeah, it's alright, but in episode 9 I hope." Now that would be cool, yeah. So pretty much if girls cannot really relate to Luke Skywalker, then what then how can you expect us fans to relate to Rey? How could Dave Filoni is a great guy, and he a lot of people dislike Ahsoka Tano at first. Once we first got introduced to her in the Clone Wars movie, but I don't remember hearing him say, "Oh, if you," he, I don't hear him insult that he insulted anyone by disliking the Clone Wars movie, or saying like, "Let's pretend Revenge of the Sith and the rest of the Star Wars movies that came after didn't happen, and they decided to kill off Anakin Skywalker." And Dave Filoni said, "Well, I guess yeah. The reason why we killed off Anakin in the Clone Wars movies because no guys can relate to. I mean, no girls can relate to Anakin Skywalker, which I would find offensive still. But thankfully, Dave Filoni has the balls and maturity not to say that." Because I take offense to not that girls can't relate to Luke Skywalker because let's take Ahsoka. She's a girl character. She's kind of a good example into the opposite gender point I'm trying to make. She's a strong, badass woman. and there are some aspects that I can relate to her on. Like like in her final story arc in Clone Wars season 5, I think. It was her last season before the show got canceled. Sorry, guy. Thank you, thank you. And yeah, hopefully see you again real soon, Nemo. Not to confuse you with this Nemo. But my point is with like bringing Ahsoka that I can relate to Ahsoka. Like in her last story arc, she was set up by Bear's Offie, who was one of her closest friends, for something she didn't do. I just highly suggest you guys watch that episode. Oh, my cat's name is Nemo. That's why I made a joke since Savage Nemo was in there. So that's yeah. But yeah, I highly recommend you guys watching Ahsoka's last story arc, because then you will know more of what I mean by this statement. But yeah, pretty much in Ahsoka's last story arc in the Clone Wars, she was blamed. Something happened to the Jedi Temple or whatnot. No, something happened, kind of related to the Jedi Temple. At the same time, it wasn't related to the Jedi Temple, but something happened to the Jedi Temple, and there was this murder, and Ahsoka was falsely accused and blamed for that incident, and she was so desperate into finding uh proving her innocence that she went to Asajj Ventress, who was betrayed by Dooku, so she wasn't. Yeah, it's my cat, Duck. No, it's a Maine Coon. Love you too. But my point is with Ahsoka, me bringing that episode in with Ahsoka is that um I there was like, in your life you're gonna get falsely accused of stuff, whether that person believes you or not. That's power you really don't have any control, but you can make your argument with another way of saying point or case to sway that person to believing that you are innocent in that scenario. But I had a friend. I was accused of something that I didn't do. I go really into detail. And there's this one girl that was my best friend in life. We were friends for 13 years. I known her all her life. She was the first girl I ever had a crush on. But she thought I did the thing that I was accused of, which I am not capable of doing. And so many people believed me. People that I'm not close to, people that I am. But for some reason, she didn't believe me. And I felt hurt, kind of felt betrayed, and sad. Like, I didn't know what else to do but to make my argument, which I did. It was her choice to believe it or not, and she chose to believe it and spread lies and hurt me. And that's pretty much the same thing that happened in Ahsoka to Ahsoka in her last story arc in the Clone Wars. That's one way. That's one of the ways I can relate to Ahsoka is through that. And so pretty much by Kathleen Kennedy saying girls can't relate to Luke Skywalker, a guy who did not know, never knew his parents, lived on a farm, getting raised by his aunt and uncle, or step uncle and his wife, and then getting pulled away, getting learning the ways of this particular ancient religion that your one of your parents learned, and then eventually learning out that like a really ugly truth about your parent was in Luke's case was. Hold on, be right back. Okay, I apologize. But in but in Luke's case, uh, finding out that his father is Darth Vader, one of the most evil people in the galaxy, and pretty much a person that you trusted pretty much lied to you about what happened to your parent, and pretty much save. I don't know how to explain it. To have it make sense, but I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from, or at least some points I brought up with Luke and with him having with him never knowing his parents and getting raised by someone else, and pretty much learning that he was lied to from one of the people that he looked up to about what really happened to one of his parents, and some other points that I may not have made or even think of while doing this live stream. I swear to God, there are some people who can relate to Luke in the points that I do bring up, in the few points I do bring up, and then more so. Uh, like I got a few friends who are adopted, who doesn't know their parents. They wish that, like Luke, they wish that they knew their parents, but they don't know their parents. Of course, if in Luke's case, it kind of shows that sometimes it's better not knowing than knowing, but still. And then I think it was J.J. Abrams who was saying if you dislike The Last Jedi, you're a racist, sexist, overweight, middle-aged white man. Like, really? Are you really gonna go there? First of all, I disliked a lot of some of the choices Ryan Johnson made in The Last Jedi. Rose could have done, like, the character of Rose could have been handled a bit better. Rey, I can see why people are saying that she didn't have any character development. Luke and Leia, they could have, at least with Leia, anyways. No, this movie was supposed to be more for Luke than Leia, so at least with Luke, anyways, they could have done more with Leia, potentially as well. And it's just because I dislike some stuff in the movie, or if I dislike the movie, let's say, what's a movie that's, let's say if I dislike Mulan, which I don't, I actually do like Mulan, but let's say if I dislike Mulan, does that make me a sexist? No. Just means I just don't really like the story or the direction that person took the story of Mulan in. Uh, and as and as far as I know, I am 100% sure I'm not racist or sexist for sure. And I'm pretty sure I'm not overweight and I'm not white. Does my skin look like it's white to you? Last time I checked, my skin is not white. And I'm 22. I'm 22 years old. Does that even count as middle aged? I mean, yeah, to like kids, 22 years old may be old, but that's different. But if you actually look at it, is about it. Is 22 really old or middle aged? I would say 22 is still considered young. It can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure 45 is when no, when you reach 30, that's between 30 and like 50, that's when you're considered middle aged. Or to 60, 30 to 60, you're considered middle aged. I might be wrong about that, but yeah, just because I like dislike The Last Jedi does not make me a middle aged white man who is sexist or racist. And uh yeah, it doesn't really hope like I get what Kathleen Kennedy is trying to do with the Force is female, try to promote female power, but yeah, saying the Force is female is honestly not the smartest move to say in public because a lot of backlash. I mean, yeah, the first time we saw somebody using the Force, it was a guy. It took us about 30ish years to see a force wielding female. I admit that it took us a little while to see a force wielding female. I'm talking about the prequels now. But even taking talking only about the original trilogy, there were hints that oh yeah, the force isn't male. It's only isn't only for males. The force isn't only for females because yeah, Luke was the main character, the main force user. Yes, in the original trilogy, all the guys that all the characters that we saw applying any force techniques were guys. Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Master Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Ben Kenobi, whichever one you prefer, and the Emperor slash Darth Sidious. Now, but we also saw that Leia was force sensitive. Back when she sensed Luke was in danger in Bespin, or Cloud City. And again, at the end of Return of the Jedi, when she sensed that Luke got off the second Death Star before it exploded. Yeah, let's take in The Force Awakens, shall we? Well, she didn't use the Force either in that movie. Where she sensed Kylo Ren, her son, Han Solo. And then that's in uh the Last Jedi. We did have a Mary Poppins scene with her with Leia using the Force, but when Luke died, we saw Rey and Leia sensing Luke's passing. Uh, pretty much. I know I kind of me bringing the Force Awakens to Last Jedi kind of in a way hurts my case a little bit with just keeping it in the OT, but you can even tell that the Force is gender neutral, and I don't know, but people at Lucasfilms constantly insulting the fans on why the Last Jedi, like constantly attacking the fans on disliking the Last Jedi. It's really the reason why barely any Star Wars merchandise is being sold. It's part of the reason why Solo, a Star Wars story, compared to the other Star Wars movies, bombed. Like I feel like I think the Last Jedi. No, Solo Star Wars story is the lowest grossing Star Wars movie. And I think Rogue One is on top of it. Either Rogue One or the holiday special that I dislike somewhat. One of those two movies I believe are on top of it. Or it might be the Phantom Menace, I forget it was one of the three. But here's the thing. The Phantom Menace, the prequels, yeah, you can say whatever you want. But about the prequels, you might dislike them, or you might like them. I'm kind of like in between. I'm like, yeah, the prequels are alright for me. But with each Star Wars movie in the prequels, taking away Clone Wars now, in the prequels, The Phantom Menace, Attack of Clones, Revenge of the Sith, each, like, I think, if I remember correctly, the box office numbers, Attack of the Clones made more money than The Phantom Menace. The Revenge of the Sith made more money than Attack of the Clones. You know why? Because, yes, some people might have disliked, like, The Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones. And I am disappointed in the fans who went after Jake Lloyd with this performance, and you guys who went after Jake Lloyd about his performance as Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace should be ashamed of yourselves for going as hard as you did on that poor kid. But I'm trying to word this the best way. At least with the last at least with the prequels. I mean, yeah, with the prequels. George and with the Clone Wars. Let's also bring in the Clone Wars. Everybody that criticized all four movies did not. I don't remember hearing, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but there wasn't any member of Lucasfilms that was saying, "Oh, you're stupid. You must be racist. Oh, you must be sexist." Blah 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 blah. I didn't hear any people at Lucasfilms throwing insults to fans that dislike the prequels and the Clone Wars show and movie. Both versions of the Clone Wars. And I have a feeling because nobody at Lucasfilms insulted the fans that were hating on the prequels and the Clone Wars, I feel like that's why people have more respect. Well, obviously for the old OT, because the original trilogy started the whole Star Wars universe. But I feel like that's why everybody respects, or a lot of people respects, the prequels, the Clone Wars movie and TV show, and the anime series, and the Rebels television show. More. In terms of, you did not hear anybody from Lucasfilm lashing out to fans that disliked one of those movies or TV shows, saying, "Oh yeah, you're a retard. You're a fucking retard for not disliking one of these." like 4 movies or three TV shows. 3 TV shows means Rebels, the Clone Wars, and the animated version of Clone Wars show. But I and with how the with the box office numbers to Solo Star Wars story, I felt like it hurt more because people at Lucasfilms doesn't know. Well, that's working at Lucasfilms now. Doesn't know when to take criticism. Like, oh yeah, the movie sucks, and don't. And there's always going to be people online that's just going to be assholes, just for the hell of it. And you need to learn to ignore those assholes. Whether you do YouTube videos, TV shows, or movies, or make video games, you just need to ignore those people that are just trying to be an asshole. But it's also okay to start listening to those people that it's okay to listen to people when they dislike your work. Like yeah, it's just okay if people dislikes your work. I'm going to quickly draw an Ninja Turtle. Uh, using the screen pen, color pencil. So it might take a few minutes, but this will. I'm not gonna color the turtle, but I just need to use it as an example. Okay. So yeah, bear with me, please, as I do make this example. Okay. And keep in mind that I am kind of like speed through drawing through this, so it's not going to be as pretty as it would normally. Okay. Okay, there's one, but I'm going to make the turtles. I'm going to make another version of the turtle with this. I'm just drawing their head because that's why I do the most is their heads. So so and right now I'm drawing the turtles, the head of the turtles back when I first started drawing. And last, I'm going to color in the mask for this turtle as well. So it's going to be Raphael since it's red. And my coloring job, since I'm like I said, slightly speeding through this, isn't going to be really as neat as I normally would. But it will make sense with the point I'm going to bring up. So I'm also a huge Ninja Turtle fan. With my own channel, it's called Phil TMNT. TMNT's abbreviation for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So when I first started learning how to draw the turtles, they looked like this. I mean, I was like about a kid then, so for a kid, that's not bad, right? Oh yeah, right. One more thing before I forget. Okay, sorry. I added those frowns, but yeah, this is what I used to draw the turtles like. I mean, not gonna be good nowadays. It's not gonna hold up for adult standards, but for kid standards, these are pretty good, right? But if somebody came and told me, "Hey, Philippe, I don't like how your Raphael looks," I mean, you're presenting. I am presenting my art to that person, and this gets to you guys. If you guys say this is like one of the worst first looking Raphaels you ever seen, well, again, I used to draw the turtles like this when I was a kid. That kid made pretend I'm a kid. Let's pretend I'm a kid. Let's say I'm like 8 years old. Well, that's the worst drawing you ever made, kid. Or not? I shouldn't say that. Said that is pretty good, kid, but it could use some work. And then me getting mad at you for giving me helpful critique. I might ask how. You might tell me how, but then me pulling a Kathleen Kennedy, Ron John, J. Abrams, the rest of the Lucasfilms people who has insulted us fans that just like any Star Wars stuff related stuff since The Last Jedi. Me saying, "Oh, you're stupid. You're racist because you don't like turtles." Blah blah blah. That will make me look bad, and that'd be wrong on so many levels. And to be honest, if I had that mentality, then would have no right to uh I would have no right to be like a artist in terms of selling or showcasing his art if I'm going to blast people if they dislike my product, which is in this case this me as an 8-year old. But then, which like I said, this is how I used to draw my Ninja Turtles. There are three first different like there are a few ways I draw my Ninja Turtles. One of the ways I kind of draw like from these turtles, which are the 2003 turtles, the ones that I grew up with. And then there comes the 1980s turtles, which I don't know how good you guys can see it. You know what? I'm going to be back. I'm going to get a picture. Okay, I'm back. So I have sketchbooks and I draw a lot. So I'll show you guys my Ninja Turtle head. So this one is Leonardo. The turtles, the 1983 turtles, I think they're 83. The 1980 turtles looks pretty much the same, so I just decided to make this turtle Leonardo because Leonardo is my favorite turtle in general. But this is how I make my turtles look now, for the most part. I mainly designed them from the 1980s turtles. But also, I'll show you the full-on body. I mean, yeah, it could still use some work, I'll be honest, but that's how I use, like, that's my first full body drawn Ninja Turtle. And yeah, some people might say, "Oh, that's just horrible," and that's one of two things. They're either just being an asshole, or they're trying to critique me. The best uh option is to not insult your customers or viewers if they dislike the video or a product of yours. Ask them, okay, how how and I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, right? So here's Goofy when Sora, Donald, and Goofy are in the Pride Lands. It took me about an hour and a half to. No, not an hour and a half, about 45 minutes to make this outline right. Maybe 50, but it took me a while to get the drawing right. And then I ink it. And that only takes about 5 minutes, depending on how much detail you have in your drawing. And then I color it, which takes more than inking. Especially if you're doing it from a source. Like, okay, this is the. Okay, I'm done with this part of Goofy with the coloring. What next? Oh, okay. You you know? And then I'll show you a few more. Here's my King Mickey from Kingdom Hearts 2. Yeah, I realized that cheek over here isn't all too realistic looking, but I tried my best. Okay, and let's see. I also like to draw people sometimes too. So I also drew my favorite singer of all time, that belated Christina Grimmie, which I show you. And yeah, this is kind of like my own style. I tried to make her look kind of like slightly cartoonish. I realized by her ear that I could easily pass it on like I was trying to make her an elf. But yeah, this is uh one of my versions of Christina Grimmie. Like, I'm trying to make her again, but more of an animated style look. Uh I drew a few of my friends upon their requests, and it turned out pretty decent. Let's see. Here's Chewbacca, and some of these drawings I learned how to do on YouTube, and this is one of them. I think this is supposed to be like the chibi version of Chewbacca, and I learned it on one of the tutorials I've watched on YouTube. This was like 2.5-ish years ago. But the reason why I'm as good of drawing now It's because I made a lot of mistakes, still do, in drawing. I go on YouTube, learn some tutorials. Even with YouTube making, I even go on YouTube, learn how to do some tutorials on how to better myself as a YouTuber. And I'm not going to insult you guys if you guys dislike a video or a game series or whatnot. I'll listen to your guys' criticisms. Uh, okay. And this I did while watching the Turtle Transdimensional episode. You know the first crossover between the 2012 and the 1980s Turtles, and on my left, which I guess would be uh my on my left, this is supposed to be the 1980s Raphael. On the right, my right is supposed to be Donatello from the 2012 series. And I tried to fuse them as best I could without making it look too weird. It's because the same person who voiced the 1980s Raphael voiced the 2012 version Donatello. So if you guys like this picture, please go ahead and comment below, even after the stream, to let me know if you guys like it or not. But if you guys don't like it, I'm not going to say, oh, you're such an idiot. You don't like my picture. You're such an idiot. No, I'm not going to say that. I will respect your decisions for not liking this picture. But yeah, I got this idea from watching the first crossover between the 1980s and the 2012 version Ninja Turtles. But yeah, I don't think Rian Johnson should be a filmmaker. If he's not prepared to get criticized in any way for a movie that he's done, then he should not be a movie maker or producer in whatsoever. Plus, he's kind of the reason why the fans are kind of split, because he intentionally tried. Apparently, he intentionally tried to split the fandom, Star Wars fandom, in two. And there is this even an old video where he kind of calls himself out, and this was like a few years back. This video I'm referring to. But then comes Solo. I watched the holiday special like a week before I watched Solo: A Star Wars Story, because I wasn't really too excited about a Han Solo's origin story. And after I was done watching the holiday special, I was saying, okay, the Han Solo movie cannot be as bad as this. And I was right. The Han Solo movie was way better than uh and it was way better than the holiday special. A little bit better, a tad bit better than The Last Jedi, in my opinion. Only by a tad. But I did find Solo: A Star Wars Story to be enjoyable. It made me laugh. I had fun with it. Yeah, I had a hard time getting into believing the actor who played Han Solo, that he was Han Solo. Had a hard time getting into that Donald Glover was Lando at first, and I even thought it was stupid that they didn't have Jabba the Hutt in the Solo: A Star Wars Story movie. But really, I had low expectations for Solo: A Star Wars Story, but I did find that movie to be an enjoyable movie. It shouldn't have been called Solo or Han Solo: A Star Wars Story, because it's not so much about Han Solo supposed to him being in a group. But anyways, all I know is, and then the solo Star Wars story, I could see it. Last Jedi, I could see it. They tried to, the people behind who made those two movies tried to put in some of their viewpoints in the movies and into the SJWs. And yeah, if you guys keep doing that, then pretty much Star Wars will eventually be dead for realsies. Like people, and you guys gotta stop insulting fans that dislike the Last Jedi. It's unprofessional. Shows just how immature you guys are. Like, I mean, the people behind the who are on Lucasfilms. People who works at Lucasfilms need to stop insulting fans that dislike some of their product. Yes, it just shows how unprofessional and immature that they are, and they should be ashamed of themselves. And I do. There is. I am with Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, who says that he wants to see Kathleen Kennedy to be, lack of a better term, kicked off as being president of Lucasfilms and have Dave Filoni replace her. At least have Dave Filoni be creative president. Just let Dave Filoni be creative president at the very least. But also, I've heard Ryan Johnson's trilogy got canceled. Rumors. It's rumors at the moment. I don't know how true that is, but it's rumors. If that's so, then I cannot be surprised with his reaction to him insulting fans that dislike The Last Jedi, a movie that he made. A lot of fans are calling him Ruin Johnson. And And I've heard some of the future standalone movies got halted because the box office performance of Solo Star Wars Story. I can't say I'm surprised they're going that route. Can't say I'm surprised. Yeah, I just can't say I'm surprised they're going that route. All I can say is I'm really disappointed on the behavior of the people behind Lucasfilms, how they reacted to fans that dislike that show. They should be ashamed of themselves. They're in desperate need of growing up. And besides insulting Star Wars fans that disliked The Last Jedi and any other content that they might have shown, they should say, you know what, guys, we're sorry you dislike this particular content. We will try to be we will try to deliver better next time. And actually do their best to try to deliver better. Don't only pander to one group and stuff like that, you know? And have some continuity. Unlike what Ryan Johnson was trying to do with The Last Jedi. Ryan Johnson was saying pretty much, screw what J.J. Abrams did in The Force Awakens. I'm doing my own thing. And I feel like when it comes to stuff like Star Wars or Marvel Comics and DC Comics, you have to find the right balance of pandering to fans and yet what makes sense of the movie. I, and if you can find out like a middle ground that kind of pleases both groups, then all the complaints that fans have would be really nitpicking. But anyways, and I apologize that I'm not wearing a Star Wars shirt. I am wearing an X-Men shirt. Uh, But anyways, what do you guys think about the whole Star Wars situation? Are do you guys agree or disagree in the direction Lucasfilms is taking Star Wars? Do, do you guys like The Last Jedi or Solo, a Star Wars story? Because those two movies seem to be like the hotspot of controversy, Phil, when it comes to Star Wars as well. As yeah, Kathleen Kennedy needs to be fired. Screw you, Ryan Johnson, because you. Well, I can see why people are saying screw you, Ryan Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy. And pretty much, what's your take on the current position of Star Wars? That's what I want to know. I know I am asking these questions as if I am ending a normal video in a live stream, but I do know that you can still comment after the live stream is over in the normal comment section. So please let me please just I I wonder what your guys take on the Star Wars situation is. So please leave your please leave your views, opinions, or whatever's in the Star Wars in the comment box below. And may the Force be with us all, my fellow Jedi, or Sith, or Force users.